upside down. It doesn't, everything that you think you know, now it's the opposite. And I would look for examples in my life where I could prove that everybody thought I couldn't do it and I did it. And I use that to make it make sense that it doesn't matter. It's not that 99% of people have to lose. It's that 99% of people didn't believe as much as I'm going to believe. I'm going to be the exception. I'm going to work harder. I'm going to be more consistent, you know?
I mean, it's similar to, like, I think horse racing. If you go to a horse racing track, some of the people are going to win, some of the people are going to lose, but more people are going to lose than win. I mean, it's the same at an Amway convention. Some of the people are going to win, some of the people are going to lose, but more people are going to lose. The big difference between a horse racing and Amway is that it's the same people winning every time.
Yeah. And you know you're going to a
losing every time.
Yeah, you know, like you're like, I'm going to pay this money. I don't need to like buy it every month. I don't need to like recruit other people to come to the horse racing. You know, it's like people know what they're getting into, but like with Amway, you don't even know what you're getting into. You don't even know you're getting into Amway.
And then the difference is, I think it's this simple. If there's 15,000 people at a meeting, more people are going to lose money at that meeting than win, but there's more money is going to leave those people in that room that's going to go to them. But there's a handful that are going to make the bulk of that money.
Yeah. And it's always the same people. They really don't change. Every once in a while, you'll see these exceptions. This which will, when you're in one of these scams, it will seem to prove that it is possible, that it is a legitimate business. So you'll see somebody who joins that joined, 5 or 10 years into the business, and they suddenly become at the top. And they're like, well, see, I've proved it wrong. You didn't have to get in at the beginning. You didn't have to get in at pre-launch, that kind of things like that. It doesn't matter that it's still showing that it's a scam. It's like even these little examples, like your dad recruiting that the guy that owns the taxi cab company. It's like those successes are just so like amplified in our minds, or it's like, see, I knew it, even though we're not even making any money. It's just like, oh, this does work. It's so fucked up.
But it wasn't really a success though, because the guy that owned the cab licenses, he never made any money from Amway, so he was one of the failures. So he found it easier to become a millionaire from taxis than to. This is a guy too that started with one taxi. He was like an immigrant that came here with no money, bought one taxi and turned it into an empire. So he went from one taxi to 38. So it's easier to go from one taxi to 38 than to become a diamond in Amway.
That's a good one. That's good. We've got more comments here. Benjamin says, Julie, 10 times BNB. There's a YouTube video, very short, very brutal. Rent your grandma's basement. Beyond says, I got approached by a smart circle thing back in 2009. That was the first time I ever encountered MLM out in the wild. I was like 19 years old and an idiot. I didn't fall for it. But part of the pitch was we work with all these legitimate companies. David G says there's a documentary on YouTube called Slave Circle. It's funny because the companies that operate under their umbrella change their names all the time to run away from bad reviews on Glassdoor. Wow. John Q says, Miss Anderson and Mr. Glenn are doing a great job tonight breaking down the Amway and the tool system business connection to help people avoid this business scam. Much respect to you both. Well, thank you, John Q, for also adding in your amazing comments to help further this discussion, because I'm still new basically from commercial cults. Glenn's was in but out very quickly, but his dad has been involved, and so we got like different perspectives here. Benjamin says it's gambling coaching. David G says, I was contacted by one of them. They found my resume on Monster and they wanted to interview me about a job as an account executive. Holy fuck. All right, we're caught up on the comments again. Go. Well, we've done a 4-hour. We've been on for 4. Well, I've been on for 4 hours, but this has gone on 4 hours already. We had talked about doing a 4-hour live stream, and it's happened. You manifested it, Glenn.
That's it, isn't it? Yeah.
Was there ever a time when you were talking with your dad that there was you saw him ever question Amway or doubt?
No, he's been very, very, no doubt at all. And it doesn't matter how much. Although the difference is, he used to want to debate it day and night. He used to want to debate it nonstop. He'd always be making, like, he thought they were really clever remarks about me being like a bucket hurler. I think that came from Robert Kiyosaki, where you've got your bucket hurl. So you've got the smart people like himself who were creating a what's the word? So you got the water. You know, you got the bucket hurlers with the water, and then you got a pipeline. So he was a pipeline, and I was the ignorant bucket hurler. And so the thing was that the people that build pipelines are laughed at because they don't have any water. You know, the bucket hurlers think they're smart because they're getting their water, even though they're killing themselves to get the water. But he was a bit smarter. He was building a pipeline, and I was just a negative, naive, uneducated bucket hurler. And he would always be making jokes about me bucket hurling, and he was a smart pipeline owner. But yeah, no, there was never any doubt. He was just 100% committed. But what's interesting is he doesn't really want to, he'll occasionally discuss it, but he used to want to discuss it nonstop and banter and joke and all this. And it was always, you know, I'm smarter than, it's Glenn, he's smarter than Robert Kiyosaki. And he's like, you know, I figured out this thing's a pyramid scheme, even though George Bush and Ronald Reagan and all this, I'm smarter than Reagan, Bush, Bill Clinton, and then he'd laugh his head off. Like, it was just so ridiculous that I thought that I was smarter than these smart people. And, you know, but no doubt at all. He was always convinced it was just a matter of time. You know, he used to say that his problem was he'd wasted too much time listening to negative people. And he'd wasted too much time trying to sponsor losers. He's trying to help these losers, and they're not responding. And I think the big thing was he had an upline. People in his upline were telling him, "Glenn's your problem. You're living with this negative, naysaying person. He's dragging you down. You've got to get rid of him. He's a problem. You can't be successful when you're surrounded by people that aren't successful and who are negative, and who are trying to steal your dream." He definitely read Dexter Yeager's "Don't Let Anyone Steal Your Dream," and he was constantly looking for dream stealers. Actually, I remember one time he became quite emotional because he's one of 9 children. He's like, I've never had one supportive comment, not one comment of support from any of my family, not one. And he was really emotional and upset that, you know, his family, they just wouldn't support him. And he's like, you know, all these other people, they have different businesses and they get supported, but not me, not one word of support ever. You know, I mean, the fact that he couldn't see, well, why are people supporting these other businesses? Why is no one supporting MLM? But he couldn't see it. He just thought, you know, these people were just negative, jealous. That's what he was being told.
God, I just keep getting goosebumps every time you say anything, because it's like, this is happening today. This happens in the form of these really weird passive aggressive posts that MLM reps will post on like Facebook or Instagram. And they'll say, you'll buy, every year it will cycle through. It'll be like, you'll purchase Aveeno from Jennifer Aniston, but you won't purchase skincare cream from your local like home-based business owner. A celebrity will tell you to go to this restaurant and you'll go there. You'll endorse them, but you won't. It's this, and nobody else. It's 2023 and people still say, I'm looking for a new skincare cream, but no MLM. And they'll also say, which I also said, is such an obnoxious asshole. Like, my friends would be concerned about me. They're like, Julie, you've changed. And I would say, like, why is it? Like, where I live, I thought this was progressive. I thought people knew, like, why are they so against multi-level marketing? And there'd just be fucking crickets. And I felt I can identify with what your dad is saying, because I felt the same thing. I'm like, how come the people that I care about the most aren't supporting me in this? There must be something wrong with them, because I see it and they don't.
Yeah, it's the real belief that, people are just jealous and they try to sabotage you. It's just...
Yeah. But that's a cult. That's us versus them. That's when it's like, it has to be that way. It has to be like war. Like, everybody is so negative. And it's not just like somebody just doesn't like it. It's like, no, they hate it. They're not just like they don't care. They're a loser. Like, it has to be so aggressive because it relies on people like keeping your dad in for years, for decades.
Oh yeah. When I was arguing with Dad, he'd be like, "Oh, well, they told me this was going to happen. They told me it was going to happen." So so the upline was really wise for predicting that people were going to be negative. And actually, when Paul Rackabalis was making his diamond speech, he says, "You need these tools because it's going to give you a shield when you go out there and you deal with negative people. Because what you need to understand is most people are very negative." He says, "I don't care who you are. You're going to come across negative people who are going to try and steal your dream." I mean, but again, there's no other business or job where you would experience that.
Nope.
It's only
cults. It's only MLMs.
Exactly.
It's only cults. That's what they do. That's how they have to do it that way, because then it creates this feeling of being you're superior, you're better, you're in on the secret. You're and what I think is funny, especially with Amway, with all the personal development that your dad has done over the years, you would think you would be like stalwart against any kind of criticism or negativity. Like, you should, if it's that easily swayed by one person, but like everybody's negative if they're not in Amway, what good is all this personal development doing? Why is it that you have to be plugged in for 10 hours, 12 hours a day at every moment? And when you're not like listening to these tapes or CDs or what's on an app or online, but then to be like going to an event and then prospecting people, how effective is this? You can't start. It's not effective because it's all nonsense. It's the big lie. Yeah. As soon as people take time off, it does not take long for them to start seeing, but good luck trying to get them to take time off. I came across a Facebook post from somebody. I want to make content on this. It was a woman in Life Vantage, and I want to get this right. She says something like, where is it? Here it is. September 1st, she posted this. Fuck, this isn't the right one. It was, I think I have it here. Here it is. August 18th, excuse me. Not being able to plug into my Life Vantage business for 12 days was extremely difficult and not my norm. I have tapped into my business every day for 7 years. Not all day, but every day. So she had to take 12 days off. And this was, I mean, she didn't wake up. Maybe she will at some point. I don't know. But I'm like, for time, money, freedom, for all, like, they're showing the contradiction in what they say, like reps, and then also what they're taught. 7 years, she has not taken a day off. She might not work all day, but she's what we were taught.
Yeah, they're always taking phone calls. Always, There's not a day that goes by where you're not prospecting or taking phone calls or
something with it. Has to be every day. And there's a fear, there's a phobia that if you stop, that would have been the day that you would recruit somebody. So then when you have somebody that's defending multi-level marketing, they'll say, well, did you do some work every day? You can have a low production day or a high production day, but you can't have a no production day. It's like, well, I had a low production day. Well, how many people did you prospect that day? Or how many meetings did you have? I had 2. Well, if you had 3 and followed my system exactly, you would have ranked up. You would have become a diamond. Like, you'll never win. And I just feel I just really feel so bad about your dad being in this long. It's heartbreaking to me that you've had to watch him go through this and have this be between you for so many years.
Dad actually just proves, though, what Dexter... Have you seen Dexter Yeager on 60 Minutes?
I think... Yes, I did. Didn't Marco do a video on that? Wasn't that the video?
Yes. He says, nobody fails in Amway, they quit. So the only way that you can fail in Amway is if you quit. Well, Dad proves that wrong because he hasn't quit and he still failed. Yeah. So he is living proof that you can not quit, you can prospect people, thousands, literally tens of thousands of people, and still fail.
Yeah.
So he's the best case study I think that you will ever see.
And people will still, though, they'll say, well, it's his fault. He's doing it wrong. He's just has to tweak his script. It'll always be something.
Peter Mingles told me that he could straighten him out in half an hour.
Bullshit. You're above reproach like that. That's absolute nonsense. That's complete
Peter
bullshit.
Mingles said that if he spoke to him on the phone for half an hour, he could straighten him out and he'd be sponsoring people left, right, and center.
Can you imagine? Where's all the testimonials, like the testimonials that like pour in for this amazing coach that can straighten you out to recruit people into Amway in 30 minutes? Well, it's because it doesn't matter what he says. He will.
Sorry, no.
Sorry.
Peter Mingle said that he could help him sponsor people, but he wouldn't be able to. They wouldn't stay in because Mingles knows that Amway's a pyramid scheme. But he could definitely help him sponsor people because selling the dream is easy.
Like, he doesn't even hear what he just said.
So he could help him get people in, but not keep them in.
Wow.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to me, you, and Mingles and Johnson all on the one radio show at the same time.
Yeah, that should be fun. It'll be nice to hang out.
It's a good thing you've got a thick skin, though, because I think you're going to need it on there.
I don't think I'll be able to get a word in edgewise, to be honest. It'll just be a lot of just sitting there and occasional sentences from what I've seen before. He was pretty good with
Bad Dog Sports, though.
What's that?
Bad Dog Sports got his points in. I don't know if you've seen when Bad Dog Sports went on Building Fortunes Radio.
Yeah.
But it was weird, though, because Bad Dog and Peter Mingles and Scott Johnson were agreeing on more than they were disagreeing on in the end, and then Scott gave him a 2 out of 10. I found that very surprising. I thought he was going to at least give him a 5 or a 6. Because they weren't really disagreeing on much.
I know, and it's not about disagreeing on anything, though. It's like this, it's just this, I don't know, I don't even know the word for it. Maybe they just have their own word. It's BFR. They're just BFRing. They're full of BFR. They're full of BS on BFR. It doesn't make sense because they do agree with so many points. They agree with so many points that Marco made when they were talking about his speech when he went to Washington. They were agreeing with everything he said, and then they're like, oh, he's just so stupid. It doesn't make sense. It's like, this isn't about agreeing. It's just, I don't know whether it's like provoking or wanting attention or maybe like a mix of both, but also wanting desperately for people to know about this Amway tool scam and still carrying the pain of having been scammed by Amway, but also not going any deeper and listening to victims like coming forward and saying the exact same things. It's like this it just stops. There's this gap. It's just like the neural connection was about to join and it was just like, fuck no, I'm just staying right here. I'm going to read some of these comments here.